Hey everybody, Rob from Karma Comic Chameleon coming at you with another ProRevenge story. Bully dad and bully son lose everything when they pick on the wrong son. Let's jump right in. I recently caught up with a childhood friend of mine who told me this story. Not every conversation is word for word, as this happened over 15 years ago, and my friend is telling it to me from his memory. He was very detailed, but again, it was a long time ago. OP is me, Bobby is my friend, Mr. B is Bobby's dad, BD is Bully's dad, KB is Kid Bully. I knew Bobby back in grade school. We were in the 5th grade and he had just moved in town the year before. We quickly became good friends over our mutual love of video games. A kid in our class, we'll call him Kid Bully, made it his life mission to terrorize me and Bobby. We were both nerdy and a bit chubby, so we were easy targets. At first, it was just name-calling and some harassment. We told the teacher, who tried her best, but she couldn't do anything outside of school really. The administration would give out detentions, but Kid Bully would just fake being sorry and get out of it. One day, Bobby and I were walking home when Kid Bully and his cronies came out of nowhere and jumped us. We fought back as best we could, but when you have 6 guys against 2, there's nothing you can really do. We went back to Bobby's house, and when Bobby's mom saw us, she called my parents and Bobby's father, Mr. B, who was separated from Bobby's mom at the time. Everyone came over, and we explained to them how Kid Bully had been picking on us, and today they jumped us. My dad and Mr. B were furious, Mr. B especially, and he was very intimidating. Mr. B was a Navy SEAL. He was on his way out of the Navy in order to be with his family and mend things with his wife. Mr. B was super intimidating to look at. He was 6 foot tall, had a huge walrus mustache, and was built like a tank. Mr. B looks over at my parents and tells them he will take care of everything because he was so grateful for me befriending Bobby. That night, Mr. B drives over to Kid Bully's house and confronts him and his dad, Bully Dad. Bobby and I were in the car, and we lowered the window down just enough to hear the conversation. "Who are you?" "I'm Bobby's father. Your son has been picking on my boy, and today jumped him. What proof do you have?" The bloody nose on my kid's face, and he said your son and his friends did it. "Boys will be boys. Tell your son to grow a pair." "Sir, you make your son apologize to my son now and end this, or else." "Or else what? What are you gonna do, you wannabe Hulk?" Mr. B grabs Bully Dad by the shirt and lifts him up like he was a child. "Look, pal, I don't want any trouble. Just tell your son to leave my son and his friends alone." Mr. B drops Bully Dad and walks away with Bully Dad screaming in the background, calling him every obscenity in the book. Mr. B gets back in the car and tells us if the kid ever bothers them or anyone else in the class ever again to let him know immediately. For the rest of the school year, Kid Bully doesn't mess with us as much, but instead spreads his bullying to more kids in the class. More parents complained, and Kid Bully was maybe suspended once. Bobby told his dad every incident, and his dad began plotting. The town we lived in at the time was a big supporter of the military since there was a base nearby. Needless to say, Mr. B was treated very well by locals and practically worshipped by the local police once they found out he was a SEAL. Mr. B eventually opened up a business teaching gun safety, self-defense, and trained the police SWAT team. At the end of the year, I moved away, so the rest of the story is all from Bobby. Over the course of the next few years, Mr. B did some digging on Bully Dad and found out that Bully Dad owned a business that was heavily subsidized by the government. They had a number of contracts with the DoD, Department of Defense. Mr. B called up a few contacts in the Navy. Since Mr. B had spent over 20 years in the Navy and retired as a Master Chief, he was well connected, and it didn't take long to get Bully Dad's contract revoked and eventually canceled. Bully Dad's company eventually went into bankruptcy, after they lost their credibility and military clearance. Mr. B also found out that Bully Dad was telling everyone he was a retired Navy SEAL. When Mr. B found out, he knew beyond a doubt Bully Dad was lying. According to Bobby, SEALs can tell each other apart, not by some wink or secret handshake, but by their demeanor. It's not an exact science, but apparently it's very obvious to them. Anyways, Mr. B knew without a doubt Bully Dad was not a SEAL. On top of that, he double-checked in a private database only available to SEALs. The database has a record of every SEAL ever to wear the trident. Also, thanks to Freedom of Information Act, you can get military papers from the government to prove if a person has ever served in the military. Mr. B finds out that Bully Dad tried to join the Navy but DOR'd, dropped on request, during basic training. Mr. B wasn't sure how to reveal this information until one Veterans Day. Mr. B and family went out to lunch. They went to a local diner that was packed to the brim. Halfway through their meal, the manager of the restaurant asked all vets to stand so that they could thank them for their service. Lo and behold, Kid Bully and Bully Dad are there too, and Bully Dad stands up looking super proud and wearing a faded SEAL t-shirt. This is where Mr. B finally had it. Mr. B walks over to Bully Dad's table with a wide grin. The following conversation is again from Bobby's recollection. "Hey there, BD, nice t-shirt, so you were a SEAL?" "Yeah, only the best of the best gets in, not that you would know. Actually, I was a team guy for over 20 years. What Bud S class were you in?" Bud S is Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL. Every SEAL belongs to a class number. Bully Dad's smug smile drops a little bit, probably realizing that his lies are catching up to him. I was in class of 82. 82, eh? So that means you were in the Navy since the early 70s? What? No, I meant I graduated in the year 1982. Oh, sorry. What was the class number? Oh, it's been so long, I forget. No SEAL forgets their class number. I see. What team were you with? I was in Charlie Platoon. We called ourselves the Flying Eagles. That's nice, but what team? I just told you. SEAL teams are assigned in numbers 1 to 5 and 7 to 10. Sigh. Okay, buddy, you need to stop faking it. It is disrespectful. I'm not faking, asshole. What the hell would you know? You're looking at a real SEAL, buddy. I asked you basic questions that any real SEAL would know. It's sad you didn't even do basic research and understand how we're even organized. How dare you accuse me of not being a real SEAL? I served my country with pride. You served nothing. I looked you up. You quit during basic training. You were never in the Navy. I suggest you take off that t-shirt immediately, or I will take it off of you. The real men who earned that symbol have died for your freedom. It is also a federal crime called stolen valor to lie about serving in the military. The entire restaurant is now watching this scene. It was obvious Bully Dad was faking it, and Mr. B exposed him to everyone. Eventually, Bully Dad lost all the respect he gained by being a fake and was shunned for lying to everyone. In about a year, Bully Dad and his wife divorced, and Bully Dad moved out of town. Fast forward a few years, Bobby followed in his dad's footsteps in the Navy and became a SEAL himself. Bobby had a major growth spurt in high school and went from a chubby 5-foot nobody to a 6-foot 3-inch sledgehammer. Recently, he attended his high school's 10-year anniversary, where Kid Bully was there too. Unfortunately, Kid Bully never changed. He was still very much a jackass. He was drunk and causing a scene. When Kid Bully saw Bobby, he went into a frenzy and tried to tackle him, but you can guess how that went. Kid Bully was arrested for being drunk in public and attempted assault. Turns out, another one of Kid Bully's ex-victims had become a cop. this story escalated so quickly. Bully kid, idiot dad turned into a case of stolen valor. Wow. This is Rob from Karma Comment Chameleon saying thanks for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe, like, and share the video with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.